Thanks, Sandra. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the presentation this evening. I'll be covering quite quickly an outline of both courses because at the moment you might be 100% deciding on one course or the other, or you might be undecided whether to go down the A-level route, which will be one of your 3 A-levels, or you might decide to go down the BTEC route, which is just equivalent to 3 A-levels, and that's all you'd study. Both courses are absolutely fine to get to elite universities, which I'll go on to. So it just depends which course suits you more and what pathway you want to study on. So it's worth listening to the whole presentation, maybe about 20 minutes or so. And then we'll try and field some questions, some halfway through for the BTEC Sport, and then some at the end to A-level P and general questions which come up. Okay, so let's make a start. So why study BTEC Sport at the college? Well, BTEC Sport is a tremendous qualification for students. It really does give you a really good appreciation and experience of both theory and practical knowledge. This will really lend itself to the vocational workplace. So whether you want to go into university and then go on to obviously work in the workplace in the sports related industry, working with elite performers, coaches in practical situations, in research based areas, it gives you a flavour of all those and also allows you to develop real generic skills across the board, such as presentation skills, leading skills, communication, organisation. So it really does develop you onto your skills, which will then make you ready to go on to your next step, whether that's higher education at university or maybe to go straight into the workplace straight after the course. So why choose BTEC Sport with us? Well, the class sizes aren't too big, normally only about 18 tops in a class, which is a really nice number in the classrooms. It doesn't feel too busy and too crammed. You'll get to know your peers really well and become very close with each other and good friends throughout your 2 years. You also have a good opportunity to work with external providers as well, not only your peers and work with your peers and coach with them and do practicals with them and in the classroom learning, but external agencies such as primary schools, so you leading and coaching primary school children or leading events such as the indoor athletics, primary school Warwickshire indoor athletics events, or dodgeball tournaments and things like that. You also have the opportunity to play for the college if you get through the trials in the British Colleges AOC Colleges League, which we play at a regional, then onto a national standard. So those, if you're successfully getting to one of those teams, such as football, rugby, netball, basketball, cricket, you'll get trained and you'll play matches on a regular basis and train every week in those seasons. We also use a variety of teaching methods. So that's for the visual learners, the verbal learners, the kinesthetic learners who like to learn through feeling and touch. We use a lot of different classroom based activities and also use visiting speakers when we can as well. Course outline. So in year 12, you do a range of units, a combination of both theoretically based units, such as anatomy and physiology, where you learn about the body and the body systems, such as the respiratory and the cardiovascular system, and some very practically based units, such as practical sports performance unit 7, where you get assessed on, you being analysed in terms of your practical performance in a chosen activity. So some are very much theoretically based, some have more practically based as well. There are also a combination of internal assessments and external assessments, which I'll talk about in a minute. Year 13, you've got another variety of units, such as very much practically based ones, such as fitness testing or coaching performance, and then again theoretical ones like sports psychology. You've also got work experience in the second year for 2 weeks, where you go into the workplace and get some practical experience, either in a gym or a school or a sports business or some other area where you want to get that experience in the sports and active leisure industry. So again, it's a combination of internal and external assessments. So as I said, assessments are internal assessments, about 58% in total, which are assignments in each unit based on pass, merit or distinction level. So you'll be graded at that level, pass, merit or distinction, normally about 2 to 3 assignments in each unit. Then you have external assessments worth 42% of your overall qualification. So you'll have 2 external assessments in year 12 and 2 external assessments in year 13. This could be a straightforward, simple exam like anatomy and physiology, hour-and-a-half exam, where you have to revise. And then there's scenario case study, pre-release case study assessments, where you'll do some background research, insert and do some research, and you'll be able to bring that research into the exam and use that examined research to carry out and complete the activities in an external examination. So there's 2 in the first year, 2 in the second year externally assessed. The rest of it's all assignment based, internally assessed. The exam board is Pearson. As I said, most years you'll have 3 teachers, normally 3 different teachers, so it'll be a bit similar to doing three different subjects at A level. You'll have 3 different teachers delivering different units at any one time to you. As I say, some more practical, some more theoretical, or a combination of both, which involves you studying, researching from the internet, from books and from class notes. What are the entry requirements? We can get these on the website, and no doubt a lot of you are already aware of it. You need to get at least 2 grade 6s at GCSE or a merit equivalent. If you're doing a BTEC level 2, for example, a merit or a distinction would count as one of those high grades. And then you need at least a further 3 GCSE passes at 4 or above. This must include at least 1 grade at 4 in English or maths, with the other one being at least a 3, and you can retake that one, but ideally 4 in language, English language and maths as well, in order to do the BTEC extended diploma. As I say, if you've got a 4 and a 3, then you probably would still get in, and you'd be able to allow to retake that one you didn't get a 4, be able to retake that as part of your BTEC extended diploma. Subject specific requirements. The only requirements are for your work experience, you will have to pay for a DBS check, a disclosure barring a service. Some are more advanced checks up to £60. Some are basic checks, £30-ish. I think the latest one I checked the other day, I think it's about £23 now, the checks. They change from time to time depending on how advanced the search is, depending if you work in a school or a club or where you're doing your work experience. Also, it's important that you are proficient in some sports. For example, in Unit 7 in Year 12, you will be assessed on your performance in one chosen sport, where you'll have to collate video evidence and get yourselves videoed playing for the college team or for your club team outside of college. So it is important that not only you have a passion and a love for sport and the physical and training, etc., but for one of the units in particular, you do need to be at a decent standard playing regular sport in one chosen activity. Work placement, as I said already, you'll be doing 2 weeks in Year 13 out in the workplace, developing your employability skills, getting relevant experience you can put on your CV. You'll be learning to do a CV and a covering letter, and you'll be developing what's called a LinkedIn business account as well, where you can obviously put your long-term aspirations on there, a profile, your qualifications, and that is something they use in the business community to obviously try and put yourself forward and advertise yourself for various positions and posts in the industry. So that'll all be developed in your work experience and your placement. What do students go on to doing? I'll go on to this in a minute. A whole myriad of degrees you can go on to. BTEC is, you can get onto every elite university in the country, apart from Loughborough is the only one, which is the #1 university in the world for sport. Every other university in the country you can get on with a BTEC qualification. So even the University of Birmingham, one of the top universities in the country for sport, an elite red brick university, they now let BTEC Sport students onto their courses. Obviously, you'd have to have very high grades in the BTEC. You can't get a low pass. You'd have to get distinctions. but you can now get into top universities. So it really is a fantastic option for people who aren't mad on doing A levels, not doing all exams at the end of the second year. You might feel you'll do better with a combination of coursework and some exams and be able to score higher grades to get you to university where you want to go. Let me just cover a few of the qualifications. So this is not just sport, but this is for PE as well. So I'll come on to PE in a minute. You can see there are so many career progression and course career pathways, from sport and exercise science and technology, things like teaching, being a therapist, physiotherapist, nutritionist, psychologist, sports scientists, sports journalists, etc. Sports business and leisure management, where you learn to manage facilities or develop your own business, or marketing. Sport development, leadership and coaching, so you go down the coaching route or the sports conditioning route, things like that. Fitness training, so you learn to be a fitness trainer, work in a gym, or set up your own business. You can progress into that. Outdoor education, if you're into that, working in the outdoor, you can learn to be an outdoor adventure sports coach or instructor. And also there's degrees in performance and excellence, like elite sports coaching, journalism, strength and conditioning coaches, sports analyst. As you know, most sports teams at the elite level have someone on the computer being an analyst. You see them on TV recording all the data and analysing it. And one of my students from about 3 years ago has now got a job working for Worcestershire County Cricket Club, a professional cricket club, county cricket club. He is now the sports analyst at Worcester. So there are some fantastic degrees out there and opportunities which weren't existing 20 years ago, but now you can see you can go to lots of career pathways. Case study for BTEC Sport, Rosie Kirch come from Tudor Grange to study BTEC. She achieved a top triple distinction star on the course, and she went into University of Birmingham to study sport and exercise and coaching science. So the world is your oyster. You can get into some fantastic universities with BTEC Sport. To go alongside that, you can obviously complement your course by doing enrichment courses, such as playing for the college teams. And also we make all our BTEC Sport students do the Level 2 Sports Leaders Award, which is another thing to put on your CV, where you get experience and you have to build up so many voluntary hours of coaching and leading sports sessions. So again, that's a fantastic grounding to develop your coaching and leading abilities and develop your employability skills. How to apply? Well, no doubt some of you applied already. If not, all the details are on the college website through their application portal, Applica now. And it will actually tell you how you create an account and how you set up and apply for the college to be interviewed to get an offer. So make sure you go on to the college website if you've not already applied to understand how that happens. And there's email addresses and phone numbers you can contact to get that advice as well. Take a pause there to rest my voice for a second. Sandra, any questions so far?
I'm just looking at a few here. One question that's come in, I think you mentioned about getting assessed practically, Gavin. Someone wants to know whether they have to be like a really high performer, and can it be any sport?
You don't have to be an elite performer. Oh, you've got to play for England or something like that. It's just you're a regular performer playing for your club. So you can be a club standard performer, you could be county, you could be an elite national player. It doesn't matter, as long as you are playing for someone in a competitive environment where you can get that video evidence. Also, in terms of any sport, you can only do it if that sport has a governing body, a national governing body. So most of obviously our recognised sports have a national governing body. So that is the first thing to look at, is what is your governing body for your sport. If you can find the governing body like the FA for football or the RFU for rugby, the ECB for cricket, they're all obvious sports. But if you're not sure, you can go on and see whether it has a governing body or not. If it's got a governing body, you're okay to do the sport and be assessed in it.
Okay, thank you, Gavin. Another question that's come in is how many hours do you spend in the classroom on the BTEC Sports course?
BTEC Sport is about 15 hours per week, so it's equivalent to 3 A levels. overall. How many in the classroom, how many practically? It depends what you're doing and what units you're studying at the time. It's a combination of both. You can't put an exact percentage split on it, but you take it that most weeks you'll be doing some practical within that week as well as being in the classroom. So you'll be doing a bit of both, but it depends on whether you've got more practical units running at one time or more theoretical units running at one time with your different teachers. So it depends the combination of where you are in the year. But you'll be doing a combination of both, and about 15 hours per week, 3 individual teachers, 5 hours per teacher.
And are we expected to do a lot outside the classroom is another question that came in.
Yeah, just like we'll talk about with A-level PE as well. Independent study is a very important part to be a successful student. So I always say for every hour we give you, we expect an hour back. So that's as a BTEC student, that's you working on research or your assignments. If you're an A-level PE student, that's you revising or doing exam questions or doing set work. So, 4 to 5 hours per subject per week or per teacher for a BTEC teacher is sort of a rough guideline, obviously, to be a successful candidate. If all you do is turn up and do the bare minimum in class, then obviously your grades are not going to be fantastic. You're not going to get the full, you're not going to make full use of your potential and reach your ability level where you should be at. So it's important that you work hard independently as well as in the classroom.
Okay, thank you, Gavin. Just a question that's come in. What are the entry conditions, and how do I get an interview with the college? So
I did cover that. So obviously the entry requirements are 2 6s or an equivalent at BTEC, obviously if you're doing BTEC of a merit. And then 4 passes at grade 4 or above. That must include 2 4s in English language and maths as well. You can get an interview by simply clicking onto the main college website. It will show how it works, the interview process, and who to actually email in order to get an interview. So it will have all the details, how to enroll on the main college website, who you email, and how you'd get the interview, then come in to get an interview in the college and talk through the various opportunities, what we can offer you.
Okay, just there's a question just come in about, does the college work with the City of Birmingham Basketball Club?
Yes, it does. So there's obviously a basketball academy here, which is very successful. That do alongside their academic studies, they probably train for 14-15 hours a week, so it's a very big commitment, the basketball academy, and that is linked directly in with the Birmingham Rockets basketball club and playing and representing them. So so that is really there's a big link there with the coach who is from the Birmingham Rockets as well, the coaching staff.
Okay, thank you for that, Gavin. We'll move on now to talk about A-level PE, please.
Okay, so let's move on. So, so as I've said already, it's the same entry requirements for A-level P as opposed to BTEC. So 2 6s and 3 GCSEs at 4 or above. Students must have, a 4 in both English language and maths. To do A-level P, you can't have a 4 and a 3. You've got to have both 4s. There's no retaking, if you do fail one of those. If you've done GCSE, obviously you must be at least grade 4 or above. But the biggest, most important entry requirement to do PE is to be able to perform well in one specified physical activity area. It's no good saying I played a bit at school, I play in the park with my friends, I shoot a few hoops, I do this. You've got to be playing for a club outside or for the college team when you come to the college. And they are competitive, the trials to get into the college team, so it's not guaranteed you'll be in the college team. So you must make sure you are hopefully already playing for someone outside of college, especially post-COVID now. All the sports teams have opened up again. You should be playing regularly for your club, practicing and playing, so that you can gain the video evidence in the practical portion of the A-level PE. These are the practical choices for A-level PE. It's a bit of a streamlined list now, what it was a few years ago. AQA, the exam board, streamlined it, but most of the major sporting activities are on here. from your football and your rugbies and netballs, cricket, basketball, all of those. And then obviously you've got some specialist activities for disability sports as well. But some sports are not on there, such as martial arts, karate, kickboxing are not on there. Boxing is. Amateur boxing is the only sort of contest sport there is in terms of fighting, and you must have your boxing amateur card, be a regular boxer, not somebody just trains down the gym hitting a punch bag. You've got to be a proper boxer. But unfortunately, there is no longer any other martial arts on there like kickboxing and karate, but most of the other major sports are on there. I've gone through the career pathways already, huge amount of degrees you can go into, or you might just be studying A-level PE because you love learning about the physical, in and about the physical, and you might be going to a completely different career pathway. Or you might combine your degree sports with something else like sports and business, sports and marketing. So there are so many different career opportunities, so many different degrees, so many different careers, as I've mentioned already in the start of my presentation. So why study PE? It's a very highly recommended and regarded A-level amongst universities. It's a fantastic theoretical grounding needed for many sport and science courses, so that you can get onto all these different degrees. That's why it's so well regarded. Various lessons and activities. You'll be doing lots of different parts of the course, 6 contrasting principal components of the course, which I'll go through in a minute. And it's great, again, for those who like a combination of coursework and exam. And again, I'll go through this percentage breakdown in a minute. Class sizes are not too big, 15 or just above. You'll have a specialist PE teacher. You know, myself and Sandra have taught over at the college for over 20 years. A variety of teaching methods and learning experiences, visiting speakers, also playing for the college sports teams I've talked about, and we have very well equipped facilities, gymnasium, sports hall, dance studio and playing fields. How's the course broken down? So the course is broken down as in the first year you'll be studying anatomy and physiology, skill acquisition and sport and society, so bones, muscles, joints, how we process and learn information, and sport and society is like history of sport and how sports developed, discrimination in sport, things like that. That's paper 1. Paper 2 in the year 13 are the year 13 topic areas: exercise physiology and biomechanics, sports psychology, and sports society and technology in sport. Both these papers are your year 12 topic areas, and your year 13 topic areas will be sat at the end of the second year in year 13. So it's a linear 2-year course with 2 papers sat at the end of the second year. So that'll be both your year 12 topic areas and your year 13 topic areas. Both papers are 2 hours long and both represent 35% of your total A level. So the 2 papers will form 70% of your overall marks. The other 30% is what we call your NEA, your non-exam assessment, where 15% is how good you are in that one practical choice, such as defending and attacking skills and tactical skills. And then 15% is the coursework based on your practical choice. So you look at and analyse your strengths, your weaknesses, how you'd improve yourself, linked to many of the theoretical areas you'd have covered on the course. So 70% 2 papers, 30% the practical and the coursework. The papers are a combination of short multiple choice, short questions, and then extended writing questions. Okay, that's what I've just gone through and told you about in terms of the breakdown of the course. So it's 1 sport you're practically after performing, the written analysis of the coursework, and then 2 papers for the exams. Case study: we recently had a student who studied come from outside the area to study PE, biology, chemistry and AS maths. She juggled with this with being an elite goalkeeper for Birmingham City Ladies and for England, and she achieved outstanding grades across the board, with A's and A stars across the board. And she went on to University of Birmingham to study physiotherapy. She loved the course, she loved the individual approach to studying, She loved the support she was given by the teachers that enabled her to give that balance between her football and her studies to aid her along every step of the way, so that she was really successful at her time in the college. How to apply, as I've just said, it's through the college website. Applica is the process you go through. It will tell you all about that. It'll have an email address and phone number where you can get through to a lovely lady called Michelle Burke in admissions, and she will deal with your application and set you up for an interview at the college. Any questions? I hope that's covered everything. We've covered BTEC Sport and A-level, and to give you the opportunity of both those pathways, which one you want to do. Is it all BTEC Sport? You definitely want to do something in the sport-related field, or A-level PE is one of your 3 A-level choices because you want to keep your options a bit more open and you want to study some different subjects. That's the pathway you want to go. Do you like exams solely in PE, or BTEC Sport? You've got a lot more coursework involved in that. So what do you prefer? Okay, I think that's enough from me. Any sort of final questions, Sandra?
We've just had one that's come in. It was similar to what you were just talking about. It said, are A-levels and BTEC the same level of difficulty? I suppose in a way, what is the difference between the courses? The main sort of key differences?
The key differences between the two courses is A-level PE. It is very theoretical. It's a challenging A-level. It's a big jump up from GCSE PE. So don't pick it if you think it's going to be an easy choice. It's challenging but very enjoyable. It is obviously very much focused on those 2 exams, and obviously you'll be studying alongside 2 other A-levels where you'll be doing all exams. So it's all at the end of the second year. So that's a lot of pressure at the end of the second year. If you're not comfortable with exams, then probably not for you. BTEC is for people who aren't mad on exams. There is some external assessment, but not as much as A-level, nowhere near as much. And as I say, for a lot of those external assessments in BTEC are case study notes where you can bring in pre-prepared notes to help you with the questions. So don't mind exams, you want to keep your options open more, maybe A-level, you're not mad on exams at all, you like the coursework elements, and you want to just focus solely on sport, and that's all you want to study at college, and you know when you're going to the sports related field, then BTEC Sport is something you probably achieve at far better than probably struggling at an A-levels where you're not particularly good at exams and you might struggle to get good grades. So that's the choice you've got to make.
Yeah, just to add on what Gavin's given in that answer as well, is that the A-level and the BTEC are both level 3 courses, and they both obviously lend themselves to you applying to university or actually going into employment. So I think the key thing is the difficulty level is the same, it's just assessed slightly different. Another question, Gavin, this seems to be focused on A-level. Is it possible to do more than one sport?
For A-level P, no. So it's just you're purely being assessed in one chosen sport. So it used to be 2 many years ago, but now it's just 1. You have to focus on 1 and do it very well. So you want to focus on playing 1 sport, training, playing, getting your standards up, and getting the fulfilling as much potential as you possibly got. So it's just 1 chosen sport in A-level P you'll be assessed on.
Yeah, I think if we're looking, like Gavin mentioned, team games. Obviously doing more than 1 sport, it's obviously we have our the winter sports teams, and then we have the summer sports teams of cricket. So somebody potentially could do obviously rugby and then play cricket in the summer term, but being assessed in a sport in PE, as Gavin said, is just the 1. One question has just come in, Gavin. Can you do the athletics work with the younger generation for an A-level and BTEC? So I think, you talked about the level 2 sports leadership course.
Yeah, so the level 2 sports leaders there will be opportunity to work with a lot of primary school children coming in. So you can do some sports leadership sessions, could be athletic sessions or sporting sessions with them. And also our sports leaders get asked to sort of help administer and run the indoor Solihull indoor and Warwickshire Sports Hall finals. Where they normally hold it at our college, and our BTEC students, sports leaders, help organise, facilitate and run that and get that experience of officiating, organising, motivating young children from primary schools from around the area.
One last question. Talking about the practicals for A-level PE, is American football an option on the A-level PE route?
Let me just quickly check again. I'd have to go back, Sandra, and check quickly. Top of my head, we haven't had an American football player for many years, but so let me just quickly check my list.
And also, is dance on there?
Yeah, dance is definitely 100% on there. American football, I don't think he's on there anymore. No, so American football is not on there anymore. Dance is definitely on there. American football was taken off a number of years ago by AQA, unfortunately, for American football players. So maybe if you are an American football player, maybe you'd be able to get involved with the rugby college rugby team. If you're quite a physical person, you could be assessed through playing rugby for the college. If you're a natural athlete and playing American football, I think you get filmed by playing for the college rugby team. Could be an option for you if you were thinking about what sport you could be assessed in.
Okay, thank you for those answers, Gavin. We have no more questions at this point in time, so we'll close the online presentation.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Thank you, Sandra.
Okay. Thank you, Gavin. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers. Bye-bye.